Good evening. I'm back with this game again. It's been it's been a while. You know, I wanted to finish No Sleep for Konami Date. That game really kind of just grabbed my attention, and I wanted to play through to the end. But now I'm ready for this. So, you know how we do. We'll put out the word on the socials, and we'll start in about 5 minutes. And there's the ad break. I'll see you in 3 minutes. Hey, Alex. Welcome on in. Thanks for coming by. Just waiting out the last 70 seconds of the ad break. Nice. That's right, you are off today and tomorrow, so I hope you're able to enjoy your downtime. And I'm glad you're spending, and I thank you for spending some of it with me. Nice. Always wanted to try making muffins. Alright, we are back. So let's jump into this game. Alright, Cycle 51. I wonder if I still remember where I left off. It has been like 2 weeks. Yeah, like I got sidetracked with Unmetal and No Sleep for Konami Date, so I might. I'm probably gonna need a moment or two to get my bearings. Alright, so we have to crack Conway's security. But the first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to eat. Because I'm out of dice for the day. Alright, that's how you trigger it. Alright. Alright. We take the ferry back. As you enter Rabia's office, you hear voices. Is that Sabine? You push open the door. Nice. I had pizza too. Sleeper, what good timing, Rabia calls out as you enter. I wanted to introduce you to someone. The man is standing at the center of the room, speaking quietly with Rabia. He turns to you and as you come in. Meet Yannick. Sleeper. He nods. Been hearing good things from Rabbi. He smiles an easy smile. Okay. And why can't I select one of these? Come on, really? Just plain. Just plain for me. Pepperoni's nice too. Okay. This is weird. Yeah, plain is just cheese. You know, cheese and sauce. Okay, now it's going. All right. Uh, Stay silent. Rabia effortlessly fills the silence. The sleeper's been running patrols in the ward. They know how we run things. Yannick raises an eyebrow, his eyes concealed behind tinted glasses. You feel his stare, even if you cannot see it. Actually, Rabia places a hand on your shoulder. The sleeper was what I wanted to talk to you about. She doesn't spare you a look. What is going on? I don't know. I just disconnected and reconnected the controller. Well, okay then. Yannick tucks his hands into his pockets. Go on. I'd like to recommend them to your ward. A tiny pause. They have shown themselves to be a capable ally here on the spoke side, but we have more than enough to run our territories. I hear the main block is proving more difficult. Yannick leans forward slowly. It's a mess, Rabbi. He waits, his tinted glasses shimmering despite the lack of light in the unit. I can use them, he suddenly decides. Rabia smiles. Good to hear. I can immediately... Yannick cuts her off with a raised hand. 1 second. He steps one surprisingly light step closer to you. You eager to work, sleeper? What kind of work? A question. Yannick lowers his head and raises it again as if he's dropped something. Nothing new for you, he answers, not quite looking at you. You don't follow. What is he saying? That concludes it, Yannick pronounces. Sleeper can work in the ward anytime they like. You shoot Rabia a confused look. Rabaya finally glances at you for a moment so fast you almost missed it. Good. I know you'll be happy with their work, Yan. Yannick reaches out and squeezes her shoulder. Sure, Rabbi, he says. Now, please, he says, turning to face you. Let us old friends get back to it. You guys are by away, leaving you standing alone. You look to Rabaya, but she's so deep in conversation and so stunned and confused you leave. Huh, okay. And that... Yeah, that's how I feel, really. Alright, now that we are at full health again, let's go home to the empty container. Ah, I see. No one in my family is really much of a fan of wrestling. Alright. Actually, wait, I want to see what that actual objective is. Alright, Conway. Alright, a Conway facility deep in the waste. He needs your... Alright. So, we're going back to the wastes. Alright. Alright, let's try this one. How do I... How do I select this? Alright, second layer has been disabled. And what about this one? Alright. Well, before I... Uh... What song were you thinking of? What movie were you thinking of? Or do you mean K-pop Demon Hunters? Alright, then I'll have to try again tomorrow. And hope that I get the 3 layers. No, we're not doing that yet. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know people who do that, who are like that with that movie. On New Year's Eve, I was watching the movie with people who were singing along right then and there. They knew exactly what they were hearing. All right, don't worry, I'll be here when you get back. Let's get some scrap and see if I can't use that for the home. All right, we got some scrap components. Very nice. One. All right, we did it. All right, I need dice for that. All right, we'll end the cycle. All right, that should be the right kind of dice. First things first. All right. Oh, now that one's a 6. And it gives me a 4 and a 2. God damn it. course. One time the game gives me a 6, and I fucking fumble it. Alright, I gotta do some work for money here. That does not give me money. Cheap fuck. Alright. Alright, very nice. Got some of that back. Alright. Let's bypass this. Okay. Alright, slot in the for him. Alright, a thread from the facility cuts through the cloud like a hairline crack of light. That's it, the final layer of security broken. Somewhere buried in the depths of the station, Feng is in control. He is slicing into the camera's control circuits and piping out the result. The thread flickers and unravels into an image. A scene, two figures in a room. One set, the other pacing. The pacing figure resolves into Hardin. The unmistakable superior posture, the shock of gray hair. The second figure's features don't seem to resolve. They are vague. Uniformed. A problem with the data, perhaps? You look closer. Then you see it. The figure is a proxy. Perhaps you should have expected from Conway, a corporation whose very existence is owed to automation. Proxy is a machine, designed to be piloted by a remote connection. Somewhere else in the system, puppets hearing it with their own body, speaking so it may speak. Proxy sits impassively, or the Conway executive that is piloting them does, from the distant safe to some ship or orbital colony, perhaps. We can move forward. There is no doubt, Hardin is saying. The reclamation teams are almost ready, and after that, I will make the declaration. Nothing has to change. The proxy leans forward, its movement stilted, uneven, as if the body was being refracted through water. But things must change, Hardin. We need further assurances. I have been informed of a breach in one of the closed networks in the low end. You have been careless. Hardin waves the accusation away. We have been stretched. A breach was detected, yes, but no data of value was lost. Our board is concerned, Hardin. A drop in our value would be unwelcome at this time. The proxy leans back, its posture dominant. If the reclamation of A1 is contested, then we could be drawn to a compromising legal position. Arden approaches the proxy. There will be no contest. Not from Solheim, who cannot muster defense. Not from Havenage, who will fall in line below me. He crouches in front of the seated figure, eye to eye. At the people of the station, refugees, gangs, spacers, all either opportunists or degenerates. Havenage is no longer strong, no longer united. No one believes in Erlen's vision, nor has the strength to enact it. I sat across from him at the negotiating table. He was forceful, eager, weakened by his ideological convictions perhaps, but a great man nonetheless. This place no longer deserves to bear his name. The eye is crippled. It cannot survive. It is a ruin filled with squatters and outlaws. They will be lucky if it still spins in 100 cycles, Hardin stands. You will move forward with the reclamation because otherwise you will lose your advantage in the system. Without your advantage, you will lose claims on the remaining palladium. Without the palladium, your factories will go dark. He pauses. Do I need to continue? One moment, comes the response from the proxy, and its head drops to its chest. Hardin steps back and paces once more, awaiting the discussion taking place elsewhere in the system. You watch Hardin as he paces, as he considers his future. What goes on within a mind like that? In the mind of a man who would burn all those around him for a path to some imagined golden end. The proxy lifts its head. We are happy to proceed. We will legally claim the station formerly known as Solheim A1 as salvage within 6 cycles. Havenage is to assist with the transport of illegal residents to Conway housing and other labor facilities. The proxy jars to its feet. Conway will also reclaim 70% of the raw output for the reclamation process after losses have been accounted for. Hardin nods. I accept. Proxy reaches out to shake his hand like a marionette, and then the recording loops. You watch it play out a second time, gripped by a horrified fascination. There was a bluntness to the conversation, to its blatant disregard for humans as anything other than objects. Things are to be moved, to be used, to be fed into structures crushed and losses accounted for in the cells of tables, the margins of ledgers. You realize now that you are no different from anyone else on the station in the eyes of the people in that room, and those like them. Each body here can be recast as a piece of property, a tool, an expense, an acceptable loss. In one moment they can be named a citizen, celebrated, protected, and in another the very idea of citizenship can be used against them. That is what it means to live in a proximity to a system like this. No longer, not while the eye spins. You gather the recording, echoed into a polygon of purest light. Then you drift down into the surface dock like a falling leaf and find the relay. It only takes a second to place that polygon of data, that recording, into the relay system Fang prepared. And then as you watch as it bursts out a web of threads, heading into the black, to every network device on the eye. Let them see what power makes of a man. Alright. We've cracked it, and we've... That went well. Let's go back to the home we're building. And we have upgrades available. I will go with... For this one, I'll go with Hard to Kill. Back to the derelict unit. Oh, that was a positive outcome. Alright. Alright, almost done with the apartment. Alright. Alright, we'll gamble here. And we got another 9 crypto. Okay. And let's make sure that I eat before. Alright, you have to use dice for that. Just want to check one more thing. Alright, so I have 2 more days. I'm debating whether or not to be on board for the side reel. Because there's so much happening here that I really, really want to try and resolve. So... But I guess for now we'll have to go back to the empty container. Let's re-roll these. Alright, much better. Alright. We have repaired the unit. Alright, well, this is really cool. Okay, I gotta remember that. Like, there's all this other stuff I want to do. Alright, well... What was I gonna do? I cannot remember. Alright, I need 3 of those to do this. Well, guess I'm gonna have to call it a day. Alright, now that we're out of here. Alright. Today is the day. There's a crowd, but you spot Lem and Mina immediately as you enter the dock. They are waiting at the cordon, where Celis security are checking the crew to board the ship. Those that manage to get up to the hub are crowded near the entrance, but even they know their chances of getting on board is long gone. I'm gonna wait. Something stops you from calling out to Lem. Maybe it's fear or just nerves. Maybe you need to take a little longer in this moment before your world changes once more. A decision was made, and there's no point in rethinking it again and again. All you can do is move forward in its shadow, until so many cycles pass that you forget it was ever there. Lem spots you among the crowd. Sleeper, we are here! They're standing beside a bag which looks to carry all their possessions they have. It is small enough to be carried in one hand. Hi, Mina. Mina is vibrating with excitement. She seems strangely at home in microgravity, but then you remember she has spent her whole life in space. Hi, robot. You hand over the cell's ID to Lem, keeping your own. He turns it back and forth in the light. Where did your friend even get this picture, Sleeper? It looks like my old Conway ID. You look, and the shimmering younger Lem stares out of the film, harder and clean cut. I spoke to the guard here. He nods to the white and green clad security officer. They'll be doing an orientation role assignment on board. Sounds like we are going to be working under the core crew. Kind of like an intern. He laughs. What do you think, Meanie? Am I too old to be an intern? Following Lem's lead, you inspect your ID. As you lift up the film to the light, you see something strange. Something that makes you flinch. The face painted in the film is one you recognize immediately, but it is not you. At least, it is not how you look now. You squint at the ghost, confused why you hadn't noticed earlier. It's a picture you remember being taken. A memory you didn't know you had. You remember signing the forms, the walk to the sleeper tanks, the cold metal floor. You remember the Eastern Europe employee who helped you in, her smile clean and surgical. You freeze in place, thinking of the you that still sleeps somewhere in an Eastern Europe facility, that won't wake until you are recovered and disposed of. And now you are leaving. Will they ever wake up? Sleeper? Lem interrupts your thoughts. These guys want us to board. You stare at him without thinking, then notice the guard gesturing to both of you to come forward. You all kick off and float over to them, steadying yourselves on the guardrail. You hang back, letting Lem present his ID to you, his ID film first. The guard slides it across a white machine, much like the one Castor printed them from. You reflexively rub the puncture mark on your hand, even though there is no trace of it now. It seems to be your destiny to be someone else's tool. Lem and Mina are waved through, the guard smiling at her excited face. Lem turns back to check you are coming. The guard beckons you closer. I'm gonna wait. You wait for a moment. You need to wait for a moment. This is all happening too fast. Changing too much. There are so many questions you have, so many threads to catch a hold of, and yet here you are, boarding a ship to who knows where on a journey that will take decades. Is this really what you want? How will you even survive? You suddenly feel dizzy, unsettled. You You can make out the concerned look on Lem's face as you hold back. The guard gestures again. Mina's eyes, looking back at you, are so bright in the starlight. God, I'm gonna stay on the ship. You can't do that. You can't get on the ship. You turn away quickly, trying not to look at Lem, to look at Mina, to meet their eyes. You turn away and kick off hard from the guardrail. When you reach the far wall, you turn back. The scene continues in front of you, as if nothing has changed. The next set of people are boarding. The crowds are still gathered at the corner. The side reel horizon still blinks, its yellow hull bright against the stars. But there are Lem and Mina, gliding up towards the docking bridge, bag in hand. Lem is facing away, focused on the steady climb, but Mina is in his arms and facing back towards you. You watch her face, confused, sullen, but twinkling and growing with a growing excitement as Lem carries it forward. As you watch Mina, you think about your future, about the future you might choose. You know one thing for certain, that future is on the eye. You no longer have any enthusiasm for being carried forward by the dreams of others, for grand features that unfold like angelic wings across the horizon. The future is being made now, on this spinning ring, among its people and its systems. You are sure of that. But as you watch Mina disappear into the entrance of the side wheel horizon, and much later when you watch the ship pull away, you feel a sense of longing. A longing to be carried, not by the systems that spin the suns, or the corporations that run the colonies, but by love, toward an uncertain future, just as Mina was. That, you think, is the future you wish to make here on Erlen's Eye. Oh, come on, this can't be the end. Did I really just... Alright, a jump over the age... Like... Oh man, I was just beginning to get into this too. Strange choice. Caster stands beside you at the rail, watching the pinpricks of light disappear from the side wheel horizon's drives. Oh my god. Please don't let this be over. But perhaps unexpected. But perhaps not unexpected. You turn to look and Caster is beaming at you with an unsettling warmth. Aren't you angry? About what? He squeezes your shoulder. I only wish for you to exercise that strong drive of yours. If it happens to align with my own, then it is pleasing to me. But if it does not, I cannot punish you. But what about the side reel? Caster looks out to the stars. I will do my best to follow its progress. He pauses. Celis itself is of more concern. Senator Celis has taken a step back from the public eye. It seems some internal struggles are playing back from within their pristine halls. Caster sighs, but I doubt politics are of much concern to you. Caster moves along the rail. The eye, though, that seems to be your primary concern. Am I right? It is my home. He smiles broadly. Then we are fellow residents. He seems pleased. This place has been a good home for me. Though, like all places, it has its phases. Do not idle here too long, sleeper, unless you wish to be once again caught in the movement of systems much bigger than yourself. Caster turns and starts to clunk away in his mag boots. I'll be keeping an eye on you if you don't mind, sleeper. He waves as he walks. My curiosity remains piqued. Once he leaves, you stay a little longer at the rail, watching the stars. Imagine the look on Mina's face when she sees Cells 1 for the first time. Imagine the excitement when she first touches its soil. The joy when she first stands outside in the rain laughing. Those images, though they will not happen for decades, are what will carry you through this cycle, and perhaps the next one too. Okay. I'm glad. I am really glad. I'm glad that ending did not completely end the game. Because there is so much more I want to do. There are so many more tasks I want to complete. Alright, do I have enough to get to know the food stand guy? Let's find out. I only have 2, I need 1 more. Yeah, alright. Oh, come on. Should have kept that 6. Alright. Well, we'll have to come back here another day. Okay, that's totally fine, Alex. Welcome back. We got an ending. Turns out that there are multiple endings to this game. I got an ending, and after the credits finished, the game continued from that ending. So I'm very happy that it played out that way. So we get to do more stuff on this space station. Oh, thank you. You didn't have to do that. I would have understood if you had to completely put the stream away, but I appreciate that. Thank you, Alex. Alright. Fang grins at you as the bay door slides open. Although in the rest of the building, people are busy, frightened. They speak in hushed tones and organize endless meetings after endless meeting. Haven Age has avoided a full-blown crisis for now, but change is coming. Fang is in good spirits and bundles you inside before you even have the chance to greet him. Valid. That's totally cool. That was the slickest operation this station has seen. He hugs you firmly. You made my job easy. He shakes you by the shoulders. I'm so proud. And, he smiles, I got to watch through the cameras as the Haven Age security weren't in on it assaulted the station. Blah. And He smiles. I got to watch through the cameras as the Haven Age security that weren't in on it assaulted the station. Fang smiled. One of them straight up whacked Hardin with their pistol. It was beautiful. They have him? He's being held, yeah. He looks around. I think the idea is to use him as leverage with Conway, get them back off. Maybe they'll exile him when they are done, or hand him over to some core authority, Fang shrugs. Now I know he won't be an issue, but I'm going to be focusing on systems for a bit. He shakes his head, seeing as that's my actual job. He points to the ceiling. The people upstairs weren't so happy, though. They've been fielding questions about the state of the eye right and left since the recording got out. People are scared. I'm not surprised. Yeah, this whole thing hasn't won me many fans in the administration, but I think that in the end, they'll agree that outing Hardin was worth it, whatever the methods. He touches a stack of highware. The eye is old, and it was never meant to run like this. The master control points that Erlin and Haven Age installed, it keeps it spinning from the rim. That isn't ideal. But if you're asking me if the eye will stop spinning next cycle, no. He smiles. And me and a ton of other skilled people will be working to stop it from happening in the cycle after that. Arden's problem is that he didn't believe in people. He believed in systems and their ability to shape the world around them. Fang squeezes your shoulder. But as far as I'm concerned, people should be the ones running the systems, not the other way around. Anyway, Bang raps on the side of his terminal. I know you didn't come here for a lecture. My tracker. I haven't forgotten. He produces a thumbnail drive. I managed to finish that code solution I showed you. It's a modified Ripper worm, one made to deactivate that tracker of yours. But in the time since I got back, I added something extra. That tracker of yours doesn't just show SNARP where you are, it transmits data about the state of your body, your current condition. My worm won't just deactivate it, it'll edit that data to tell SNARP that your body is irreparably damaged. DNR, do not retrieve. He grins widely. Pretty smart, right? Thank you. Just slot it already. You take the drive and hold it in your hand. Then you close your eyes and open up your access ports. Take down your defenses. The worm immediately enters your closed network. It whips through it, taking things with it as it goes. The moment they're gone, you forget they were ever there. They just blink out of existence. A second later, it is done. You open your eyes. How do you feel? Asks Fang a little nervously. Free. Fang smiles widely. Well, you are free, sleeper. He claps you on the shoulder. Fang lets the word free hang in the air a little while before he continues. Seems like it might be finally time for a celebration. Fang wraps his arm around you. Jenna still owes us those drinks. He laughs and you join him. And later when you leave, you feel deeply thankful for having such a friend. As you walk away from the building, you look up at the wide curve of the eye, up at the hub and the other rim beyond it. The whole thing twinkles with lights, and it seems impossible to see it as anything other than breathtakingly beautiful. It feels, in that moment, like something eternal. That doesn't mean it can, or even should, last forever, or that it will never change, fade, or decay. It simply means that in this moment, this place is a future, and it is one that you know, deeply and truly, is worth protecting. Alright. Alright, we will go with... I want to go with Obsessive Haggler. Now then... I need to rest, and I don't want to rest in my empty container. I have a home now. No, no, no. Do not inject stabilizer. Not yet. Alright, give me a Griot cap. Alright. Now we can finally complete this objective. Alright, so he's working on food prep now. And I need some money, so we'll do this. We'll play the exchange. Yeah, what the hell, we'll take a bar shift. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, alright. Sometimes everything is just coming up roses. We will end the cycle. Oh, that's a... I guess the next thing we can do is, we can enter the Greenway. That'll be the next, thing I do. Alright, and, let's, clear some overgrowth. Alright, alright, alright. Go back. Well, definitely need some food. Alright, we have an ad break starting in about a minute or two. I do not play during ad breaks, so when the 3-minute ad break hits, I enjoy the downtime, and I'll resume playing when we get back. We'll work a bar shift. Finish out this little objective thing here. Alright. The Griol slides from the bottle into the lumpy recycled glass, a pale grassy yellow under the overlook's warm lights. The spacer nods and takes the drinks, bringing it up to their face like in both hands like an offering bowl. This is the good stuff. The stuff Talus says is aged wooden casks stored in some closed-off part of the old station among corroded wires and softly looping systems. Though sometimes it is hard to tell if Talus is joking. Either way, you like pouring this stuff. It gets on your fingers, and if you rub them together, you can smell the mossy drink cut through with aniseed, mushrooms, wood, as the alcohol evaporates. You like those who ordered it too. And there is the ad break. I will see you in 3 minutes. I just looked, Alex. Those look delicious. I'm sure they'll taste great. Alright, we are back. Where was I? Oh, yeah. You like those who order it too. The aged grill is kept beneath the bar, open to order only by those who know it's there. It's like the quiet spacer sitting at the bar right now. Watch the spacer. They are far enough away that you can freely watch them as you close the bottle and tuck it beneath the bar. You call them a spacer because they bear the hallmarks. Pale, back-suited, bird-boned, and hunched beneath the weight of the station's spin gravity. The closer you look, the less you see a type. Pale eyes, almost gray, but kind. Delicate fingers that lightly drum the bar as if it were an instrument. A shock of black hair, almost covering a forehead scar. Scars are something you have learned to value. They are what marks out your body from the hundreds, maybe thousands, who knows, of similar models that rolled out of S&Erb's biolabs. You find yourself rubbing on your forearm, a rough little split, something that on the good days you might think of as a mark of defiance. Suddenly, you hear heavy clunking at the door. It creaks open, and a huge cylindrical metal tank tumbles through, slamming onto the floor. Shit! Tala breezes in from behind, a whirlwind of hair and bright eyes. Shit, shit, shit. Tala? Sleeper! She ducks behind the bar and comes over. Can you help me with this? You look at the huge metal tank suspiciously. I'm coming. You come around to the bar and get to one side of the tank. Okay, says Tala. On my count. 1, 2, 3. You both heave the tank up to standing. Somehow you hold it in place, struggling to keep it steady. Where's this going? In the back! Comes a voice from behind the tank. Somehow you manage to lug the huge thing into the back room, where you place it in one corner, dwarfing the rest of the contents in the cramped space. You hear a crunch. You stand back, look at the expired rations oozing out from under the tank. Oh shit! Talia looks at you apologetically. I know you like those. That's okay. You push the crushed rations to one side, and that's the end of that. Talia looks exhausted and rubs her shoulders. Francis, I swear to... Francis? Francis! I mentioned him already. My guy on the door. Deals with suppliers. Tall. She sighs. He was supposed to be back from Etienne's up in the Greenway by now. Back with our grill. She leans against the tank. It seems like he got lost again, or joined the Haifa commune. We need that grill. There's 4 other bars near here, and the spacers sure as hell don't come to the Overlook for the ambience. She looks through the open door to check if anyone can hear her. She knocks on the hollow tank. So I'm taking matters into my own hands. She smiles. Welcome, sleeper, to the Overlook Distillery. You look around the tank back room. Need some work. She picks at some paint flaking from the metal walls. Well, I might need some help, though. She shrugs. You up for it? She knocks on the tank again. Could be fun. Happy to help. Okay. She grabs by the shoulders. I'm excited. She turns around and looks at the tank. I reckon we chop this thing in half. One half for fermentation, the other we turn into a still. We'll also need to gather the ingredients. She turns back and looks at you. You look more like a chopper than a gatherer, she smiles. So how about you build the still and tub while I work on the rest? Oh, wait, sleeper, I have an idea. Talia is grinning now and it's making you nervous. To make up for the rations, how about we put a kitchen in here, too? A kitchen? Uh-huh. I've always wanted to serve food. She turns back to the tank. This is going to be great, she says to herself. You look at the dented tank in the bare room. At least she has vision. Talia nudges you out of the back room and closes the door. As you go back to the bar, you hear the banging and thumping begin. The spacer finishes up their drink and nods in your direction as they leave. You can't quite tell if it's a gesture of sympathy or good luck. So much for a quiet shift. Nice. That done, I want to go back to the Greenway. Alright, back to the aviary. Clear some more overgrowth here. Alright. And that did nothing, so... we'll just do that. Oh, damn. Alright, so we'll get this... we'll finish that on the next day. Very nice. Alright, cool. Have fun playing Stardew, my friend. Alright, so emphasis real prep will be ready tomorrow. Where is my... okay, there's my home. We will inject the stabilizer and end the day. Alright. was the winner. Alright, we did it. So I need groove spores now. That won't be hard. Alright, one more. We'll get one more. Very nice. And we have more to do here. Alright, next part is the waiting. Alright, we'll do a task for Yannick. I should buy some stabilizer anyway, so... Nice. One or two more dice rolls should finish that. Now let's talk to Emphas. Emphas is preparing the grill caps. He has had to heavily adapt to this recipe, he says, but the smell is already incredible. It emanates from a strange purplish-white bulb we've never seen before, and he is slicing it finely. He brushes and slices the mushrooms and then places them in the wok with the sliced bulb and the oil. They caramelize there in that well-worn crucible. He adds liquids, transparent and opaque, and then turns down the heat. A sprinkle of leaves is the final touch. We have a moment, Sleeper. Do you have a story? Something in the scent of the food gives you a feeling of nostalgia, something distant and melancholic. It seems like the story should match the feeling somehow, and maybe you will feel better for telling it. Let's recall our oldest memories. Start by explaining that you were emulated from a person. Many of your memories are left behind. Perhaps this is an intentional part of the process, a way of keeping sleepers ignorant and malleable. Or perhaps it is a side effect of the imperfect emulation. You admit you don't really know. What you do know is that some memories survive, and on occasion they come back to you like shadows passing overhead. You detail one recurring memory, which, despite returning to you with enough regularity for you to think it's familiar, always fades as quickly as it arrives. You struggle to explain the feeling of being whole for a moment that comes with this memory, and how that wholeness slips away to leave you feeling like you have forgotten something important. But you just can't bring it to mind. Emphas nods throughout, cooking as he does with deft and skillful movements. You start to trail off when you realize you can't find the words to explain how the memories you do have... You start to trail off when you realize you can't find the words to explain the memories you do have feel like both yours and someone else's at the same time, and how that always fills you with a certain sadness. The sadness of remaining forever unknown, even to yourself. Emphas finishes cooking and meets your eye. I'm sorry, Sleeper, for your troubles. He puts the wok to one side. I appreciate you sharing with me. He smiles. I hope it lightens you up a little. He presses you a bowl and heaps the grills into it, their yellow color mixing with the pale sauce and whorls and blooms. Eat. The dish is delicious, filling. It warms you as you eat in a way you weren't even sure your body could be warmed. It is a small mercy, you think, that SNR left you this pleasure. Many of the features of frames are there to simulate human experiences. You know that much. Emulated minds cannot be rewired, so their need for embodied experience must be met. That is not why you breathe even when you do not need air. Without the stimulation, the sensation of drowning would be unbearable. Food serves another purpose. Your frame is able to metabolize it to produce energy from the raw material. Vitamins and minerals are excess, of course. Your frame only needs raw power, so much is wasted. And yet, while you eat this food, you feel that warmth is. You, and yet, while you eat this food and feel that warmth, nothing is wasted. It all means something to you. As you finish, Emphas takes the bowl, the last of his cleaning. He smiles at you, and neither of you feel the need to say anything more. Instead, you simply exchange nods and walk your separate ways back to the bright market somehow changed. All right. All right, where is... Not there. We'll go to the dispensary now. And buy, I think, a stabilizer. And we will call it a day. We'll feed a stray while we're at it. I can spare the chits. And... Wait. Oh, the stray hops up onto a work surface and looks out the unit's small window. It doesn't acknowledge you're present. It just sits there, beneath the tray of crumbled crackers, staring out at the low end. Kitty! Oh, hey, Rem. I didn't hear the chime for you coming in. Welcome on in. I hope you're having a good night. It doesn't acknowledge your presence. It just sits there, beside the tray of crumbled crackers, staring out at the low end. What is this cat's story? Are there more in the station? You haven't seen another in the low end, but in the vast megastructure that means little. There could be a whole colony of cats like this one down in the Warrens. You look at its sleek dark fur and sharp eyes. It doesn't look ragged. It looks at home. In fact, its presence in the unit makes you wonder if this is the stray's apartment, which you are squatting in. Watch the stray. Though the stray is looking out of the station, you feel its attention on you, waiting for you to spring your trap. You remain relaxed and watch as something flickers in its eyes, perhaps the reflection of a passing ship. The stray settles a little and starts eating, picking at the broken crackers. You don't remember ever having been this close to an animal. It triggers something in you, a recognition of a life totally unlike your own, but somehow still connected, parallel, even interwoven. The stray licks crumbs from its fur. Do you like it here? The stray flicks their tail at the sound of your voice. It is hard to imagine the stray liking anything, or at least being vulnerable enough to admit it. But the stray's pleasure at existing here, in this place, shines through its every sinew. It is not that the stray is always happy on the eye, but that the stray is engaged by this place. It is alive here. You turn your eyes to the window, the one that the stray looks out of, and you both watch the stars and ships together. You feel something pass between you and the stray, a kind of acknowledgement of each other, a sense that each of you might share something with the other, a point of connection. Then all at once the stray yawns wide, hops down from the unit and brushes along your legs, and then it is gone. Out through the unit door and back into the quarters below end. Alright, now we called it. Now we're gonna end the cycle. No. Alright, that's a good loadout of dice. Alright, we're gonna buy one thing of scrap. To make up for that, I'm gonna offload some containers. And we'll go back to working on Yannick. And one more. And that... You almost laugh when you see it. The small same recorder stuck to a different wall this time. Written across the fluorescent tape is the familiar word sleeper. You grab it quickly. I said sorry. Sabine's voice speaks up once again. She didn't have time to brief you before setting you up with the old man. I'm sure you've got the play by now. Earn his trust, work the block. Then we need you to get into his office. Pause. It is risky, but obviously you are the only one of us he doesn't already know. Either way, we need to locate a link to the SNARP. You hear a shout in the background of the recording. Rabia says to be careful. Sabine continues. The data suggests there is some relay processing the implant data and sending it to SNARP, but we can't lock down its position. Either way, he is moving it, or it's moving itself, or it is rerouting through other relays. We can't understand it. Maybe you can find some details on it in his office. Once he trusts you, you should be able to get it close enough to get in the office. You only get one shot. The recording creaks and whines. That's the final piece of the puzzle to end this. A pause. Good luck, Sleeper. I'm sorry too. Be safe. The recording clicks off, leaving you in silence. You pocket the recorder just in case and walk away. Looks like it is up to you. Alright. We're gonna do this. Please do not fail. You take too long to search through the office, you find the drawer, start pissing off the countermeasure. Alright, nope. It will not let me do it again. As you finally prise the countermeasure from the drawer, Yannick enters the room. I wouldn't touch that, he ambles in as if he just found the open door by chance. Bad things. I was just looking for your medicine. Yannick laughs. He picks up a pill bottle from the desk. Not looking hard. Yannick sits at the desk. Easing there, he suddenly jerks his head up and nods rapidly. That's right. What's wrong with you? He looks down at you, those sunglasses shimmering like wind across water. Nothing wrong here. Yannick grins, a wide and empty grin. Who are you on errand for? He produces a squat black object from his pocket and sparks up. He produces a squat black object from his pocket and thumbs a button on the side. The end of it sparks up. Yes, he pauses. That's not a problem. Man, this is a tough one. This is actually a tough choice. Fuck. I'm not a rat. Yannick jerks his head to the side. Try again. He leans towards you now, black box sparking, reflected in those shimmering glasses, a grin on his face. He barely reacts to the object that slams into the side of his head. You don't see what it is. Some metal box or ornament, perhaps, but you see the blood welling up from the cut it made when it glanced past. Yannick is still, and then he twists around. And then he really twists. His whole body spins around a single point, his muscles shifting in some strange sequence, his head staying dead level in space while his body moves around it. The result is sickening. Step back, sleeper. Rabia is standing in the doorway, clearly the source of the bottom of the thrown objects. She readies her baton. Ravi, says Yannick with an odd croak in his voice. Then he leaps at her. Yannick moves unlike anyone you've ever seen. Disconnected, unpredictable. Thin, taut muscles around angular bones. His ornate clothes whirl around him, shadowing his attacking strokes. Rabia staggers back, swinging in the air, hitting cloth, but not making contact. Yannick's inhuman moments throw her off, putting her on the back foot. She shouts at you, "The relay!" You grab for the drawer, ripping it open, expecting to see a chunk of tech inside, but all you see is a handful of wires and an empty implant cradle. Something's wrong. Rabia is desperately wrestling with Yannick, but she manages to throw him to the floor where he lies still. Nothing? She shouts back, "No relay?" Just a cradle. Rabia goes to respond, but the cracking noise makes you both look at the top of Yannick. You both watch in horror as he stands, one leg at a strange angle. The blood runs down his face, but it doesn't react. A crack has appeared in his glasses. It suddenly hits you. The cradle, the relay. The relay. You see this. You stare at the implant on the side of Yannick's head, the shimmering glasses. He is the replay. He is the replay. Get his implant. As you shout, Yannick pushes forward again, limping, broken, but dangerous. Rabia hears you and swings her baton up away from his shifting body towards the pale box on the side of his head. There is a crackle, the smell of something burning, and Yannick drops to the floor like a paper with cut strings. Rabia doubles over. Rabia doubles. Ugh, I cannot read right now. Rabia doubles over, catching her breath. What the hell? Rabia speaks between heavy breaths. I don't know. There's no way that was the old Yannick. She stretches, wincing at her injuries. Was he a sleeper? She gives you a grave look. I have no idea. Rabia sheaths her baton. Not now. We have to go. If the rest of Yadigan finds out Yannick has been murdered. She shakes her heart. She shakes her head. Did we just start a war? She grabs you by the arm. We need to go now. And you both turn away into the corridor as rapid footsteps start echoing throughout the low end, brought by the commotion. You and Rabia exchange looks. It is done, but at what cost? Damn. Alright. Oh, that. Damn, all this, and it's only been one cycle? Oh, man. Gonna be a couple more days before the aviary is ready. Alright, so I just have to wait. In that case, we'll go back to the bar. And we'll help build the still. Alright. That was cool. Alright, let's go out into the world. Alright. Definitely could use the... Definitely could use the money here. Alright, what else can I do here? Alright, nicely done. Alright, let's add some more to this distillery. And make some money while we're at it. Yeah, what the hell. Oh well. Still good day with all things considered. You know what? Since I've actually made a lot of money really fast, should be able to buy more stabilizer, but where is the clinic? Did that just cost me? Oh, this is gonna be rough. I do have one stabilizer already, so... Alright, we'll call it a day. No, that's not where I live. Alright, I'm gonna use that 1d6. And then I'm gonna re-roll everything else. Alright, that's a little better. Alright, so this is where you can look for Ashton. Yeah, I'm gonna use that to repair myself before I go to sleep tonight. Alright, we got lucky with that one. Yeah, I think the place where you buy the stabilizer is gone, and that worries me. Alright. Where's the food stall again? Oh shit, I meant to do that. Alright, I gotta get some fucking scrap. There is nothing to do here. Alright, we can do this. Okay, we got one of those two caps. Alright. One of those two mushroom caps needed. The next real objective. Meantime. Alright. Now I'm starving. Just not good. Alright, Rebecca's office will be open tomorrow. Ah, fuck. Should not have re-rolled that. Isn't there? Alright, no more option for rations there. That sucks. Alright, we'll eat here. Alright, so before we do that, I want to go back to the Greenway. Back to the aviary. Alright, I got what I needed. Alright, good with the positive outcome. Where is the stall here? Alright, let's give these mushroom caps to him. Or the Matsutake broth. Alright, so that'll take 3 days to prepare. Let's talk to Rabaya. Even before you enter the office, you can hear the sound of Rabaya working the heavy bag. She's hammering it, the chain creaking as it shakes with each hit. She has been like this since Sabine doesn't finish the sentence. They are sitting on a stool looking at the terminal in the corner, searching through the S and ARP data you pulled all those cycles ago. How have you been? I'm well, Sleeper. Happy to no longer be hunted. They smile. Yanagan has plenty to deal with, and without Yannick, I'm free. They glance nervously at Rabaya. Rabaya stops punching, and in silence you can hear her breathing hard. Sabine looks over at her, and you sense something between them. You realize you haven't seen them together since they tried to kill each other in the same unit. A lot has changed since then. They hooked him up like a puppet, Rabaya. They hooked him up like a puppet. Rabaya hits the bag, rigged that thing in his head so they could control him. Push the old Yannick out. I don't know why he let them in. Rabaya throws a few more punches, but it's a lesson. Don't let them in. Another flurry. Yadigan shouldn't deal with corporations, and we never will again. She spits. Rabaya comes away from the bag. It's a war out there. Yannick murdered. They are all looking for the killer. There are claims of a coup in the organization. People are taking advantage. She rubs her head. No good will come of this. Sabine interjects. Not true. Come now. They turn to you. Now the connection has been broken. I've been looking at removing the trackers from the implants in Yardigan's enforcers. It's a significant job, but I think, with time, I can do the surgeries. Rabaya scuffs. Time? Yardigan will tear herself apart in the next 5 cycles. She thumps the bag again and walks away to the far side of the unit. Sabine watches her go, concerned. She'll get there, they say to you, not looking away from Rabaya. It's impossible to deal with all this. I don't think so, no. Rabaya doesn't either. They look over at her, at least not when she's calm. What I understand is that Yatagan can be something if we want it to be. Coming here from Essenarp, from the core worlds, all I saw was a gang. And with Yana keeping me on a tight leash, they shudder. Rabaya believes, and I want that belief. They look unsure. I also want to be done with Essenarp, but I doubt they are done with me. They glance away, rubbing their shoulders. Are you and Rabaya? Sabine fixes you with a look. Yes, Sleeper. Isn't that obvious? They smile. I've been wanting to say, Sabine begins nervously. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you where I came from. I know I've apologized before, but I want to again. They pause, properly. When I leaked the data on the Sleeper program, it was to try to help people like you. They grit their teeth. But after all the cycles here, being pushed down, pushed around, trying to survive, all that got away from me. So when you turned up, they sigh, it shook me up. They ran a hand through their hair. But I ended up here, so... They look at Rabaya. Oh, of course. They reach into a pocket and take out a handful of vials. These are the last of the case. You can have them. They drop them into your hands. After these last few, I don't know what we can do. With the SNRP connection broken, they look down. But I know there are other ways. Repairs, other pharmaceuticals. I even heard there are some labs out on the Greenway. Perhaps they can help? They meet your eye. I'm sorry I can't do more. Thank you for everything. They look away, their eyes bright with tears. Rabaya crosses back to you and sits beside Sabine. They look at each other, and you can't help but smile at the idea of them together. What are you two plotting? Rabaya grins. Sabine laughs, and the sound is a welcome one. You watch the two of them teasing each other and smile. Later, when you leave, you take that handful of vials out of your pocket and look at them. You could still feel that core of anger deep down inside, and you don't know if it will ever leave. But SNARP doesn't own you anymore. They can't, because this place, these people own you. They are what makes you get up every cycle. They are what keeps you breathing. You put the vials away and walk through the low end, your senses tuned to every sight, every smell, and every sound, soaking it all in, living. Hell yes. And I've got an upgrade available. Alright, but I can't use it yet. Oh well. God, this soundtrack is such a banger. It's so chill and relaxing. Alright, we have 4 things to stabilize her now. That's really cool. We'll feed the stray and go to sleep. You can still sleep in the empty container. That's kind of funny. All right. All right, I guess we'll do one of these things. Alright, good outcome is good. Yeah, oh well. Alright, I don't want to use a six-sided die to fill one objective space. Oh god, what a worthless result. Alright, well, I guess we'll use that at the bar. Oh, we did it. Tala stands back from the newly finished still and tub, hands on hips. Look at this, she grins. The overlooked distillery in all its glory. She squeezes you around the shoulders. Thank you. What's next? There's an issue. What's the problem? Well, Griol the drink, as you probably guessed, is named after Griol the mushroom. That's what gives it that golden color and earthy taste. That alcohol is infused with the mushrooms along with a mix of spices. That means you need Griol caps to make Griol, but no one wants to supply us. The distilleries on the Greenway are taking all the stock from the farms out there, so it's hard to get a single cap across the Founder's Gap. However, I have an idea. She smiles. We can grow our Griol caps here. She gestures at the increasingly equipment-filled back room. I can bring you mushrooms? Thala gives you a pitying look. Where's your vision? Any outside supplier means they take a cut. Okay, maybe not you, but someone somewhere takes a cut. Thala puts her hand on the still. We made a still. We set all this up? How hard can growing mushrooms be? They don't need light. They barely need soil. We can do this. She pauses. Or at least we could if we had something to grow them from. Like spores? Exactly. Suddenly you feel like you've walked into a trap. And you are the perfect person to get me those spores. She nods rapidly. Think about it. You built the stall. You are great with plants. You know the eye like the back of your hand. Need I go on? God, I love this game. Are you flattering me? If it's working, then yes. She grins sheepishly. Look, I can't leave the bar and the other people picking up shifts. She grimaces. I'm saying it has to be you. Fine. Wonderful. You'll love it over on the Greenway. I think all that fresh air, open space. She sees your expression. Okay, I'm done. She turns back to look at the still and the fledgling distillery forming around it. It really is something, though, isn't it? And once or not, you really have to agree. Well, I do have these spores here. Voila. Alright, so she's gonna be working on making booze. Alright, we'll rest. Alright. 3 energy. Nice. Okay, I have to do some hacking for this one. Or not, because I don't see anything hackable here. What does it say again exactly? The network's system degree have cut off since the collapse. Oh no, I did not mean to do that. Oh, fuck. Alright, we have an ad break starting up in about a minute or two. The ad break will last 3 minutes, and I will not play during the ad break, so feel free to get up, stretch, do whatever. I'll resume the game when we get back. Ah, fuck. Alright, we are going to go back. And get some food, because... Actually, wait, I can barter for food. Alrighty. Alright, end the cycle. And there is the ad break. I'll see you in 3 minutes. And we are back. Thank you for waiting. Alright, let's continue with this. Anything I can... Doesn't appear to be much I can hack. Well, let's try anyway. Two Yadigan agents. Well, let's see if I can't hack him. Alright. What happens if I reroll this? Nope. Alright. That was a pointless reroll. But, get to talk to Emphas. Emphas is preparing the Matsutake caps. He cleans them carefully with a damp cloth before shaving the stalks as if he was sharpening a pencil. His knife slides through them, revealing the bright white flesh of the within. These are good, Sleeper. Very good. He says without looking up. I bartered with Mingi for some kelp too, so we can brew the dashi. Dashi? A soup base. Very good. Emphas slides the sliced matsutake mushrooms to one side and takes out a closed pan. He opens the lid and you see the green wafer of kelp sitting in a bath of water. Been soaking it since last cycle, Emphas explains. Should we get to warm now? He places the pan over the burner and turns it on low. We have some time now. He wipes his hands clean and throws the cloth over his shoulder. However, there is one difference this cycle, he smiles. You have been the one providing ingredients, so it's my turn to provide a story. Okay? Good. This story is important to me. He gestures for you to both sit on the folding stools behind the stall. You see these? Emphas runs a hand over his forearm, tracing the circular scars that mark them like perfect bite marks. Conway called it an anchored interface rig. Mechanical control device for piloting heavy-duty extraction suits in low-G industrial operations. We called it a bone suit. He points to a pattern of larger circles on his shoulder. They drill in and anchor it here, then all the way down to the arm. He taps each scar on the way. It maps mechanical movements to the suit perfectly. A one-to-one mechanical replication. You swing your arm too. A 2-ton arm swings too. You should have seen the recruitment vids. Strong people and even stronger suits tearing through stone and scrap. Superheroes. Half my graduating year signed up from company school to company shuttle. Conway from birth to death. He stares off into the distance for a moment, fighting with the memories. But the bone suits weren't good. The rate of failure was high, and failures meant arms torn off, anchors torn out, broken bones, bad stuff. So after a while, Conway discontinued them. No longer competitive, they said. He checks the broth, turning down the heat and adding the mushrooms. So there we were, hundreds of us with surgical alterations for suits that didn't work. They sent us home, back to the company colony that spat us out to be cleaners, drivers, cooks. They gave us drugs for the pain and told us to make something of ourselves. When I deserted, bribing some passing spacers to take me into orbit, there were only me and a couple others left. The rest just faded away. Arthritis, osteoporosis, they folded in on themselves like paper lanterns. That was my generation. The anchor points still ache, still burn. He touches the scars. But what burns worse is the betrayal. I've been on the eye for a long time now, but that will never fade. Not that, and not the faces of my friends. Emphas reaches over and sprinkles a handful of leaves into the broth. It is ready. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. I will not let their story die, and as long as I am telling it, it will remain. Emphas pours the broth into a double-walled metal ball and hands it to you. The heat radiates through your hands, and the smell drifts up, rich and sharp like a pine forest after the rain. You drink the broth slowly, chewing the matsutake and thinking. Ephes busies himself with cleaning the pans and the bowl, sealing the kelp back up for another day. Then he quietly comes to sit with you while you finish your meal. Neither of you speak, preferring instead to let the story linger in the air a little longer. It is not that there is nothing to say, it is that sometimes, in the moments after something, speaking breaks the spell. So you both idle, eager to be in each other's company, Emphas taking longer over his cleaning, his packing, and you savoring the final dregs of both. When you finally finish and hand him the towel, you feel the spell break and the story leaves you both. As you leave, you know that both of you are somehow a little more empty and a little more full than before. That was nice. Alright. With 2 upgrade points, I can upgrade this skill for Icebreaker. Really cool. Yeah, let's, you know what? I'll buy some scrap. And we'll try unloading a container. Nicely done. Alright. We'll rest. Hey! Psychic Gamer coming in with the raid! Welcome on in for those of you. Welcome on in, Raiders. For those of you who do not know, my name is Nathan Jacob Boos. I am a variety streamer. Currently playing Citizen Sleeper, a cyberpunk game where you play as an android with a human's consciousness implanted in you. And you try to just live a normal life. Psychic Gamer, how was Subliminal? I hope you had a great stream. And for any of you, if you need to raid and rest, I totally understand. After stream care is important. But thank you for trusting your community with me. Amilto, good night, good evening to you too. Alright, what can I do today? For all you tabletop lovers, this game actually does use dice mechanics. Like, as you can see at the top of the screen, you can roll 1 to 6, and that will determine, and the number you choose for a certain action will determine your likelihood of success. What else can I... And one thing I've been doing is I've actually been helping renovate a bar. This is... I'm not gonna lie, Psychic, this is actually a sleeper hit for me. I did not think I'd enjoy it as much as I have been. There is so many compelling characters to interact with. No, 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 not here, not here. And I just, I just never get bored while playing it. And like there's no real time limit. You can let as much time pass in game as you want and not have to worry about like, losing out on anything. What else? All right. So we're gonna do this story objective. We're looking for someone called Ashton, who seems to be missing in this area. Oh, that's good. That is good. We will finish this right now. And when you actually fill out an objective like this, you get nice little story segments like Greenway here. But yeah, no, Psychic, you should play this game if you haven't. I highly recommend it. This is a really great indie title. The trail ahead extends deep into an overgrown section of the Greenway. At this far end of the ring, where the long, lazy curve of the Greenway becomes the shattered landscape of the waste, things are oddly quiet. Ahead stands a vast firm stack broken from its axis by rust or force, and lying amongst the overgrown landscapes is like an ancient temple. It is stained with moss and algae, flows of green running out from its broken tanks like a frozen brackish tide. This is where Ashton is hiding, you are pretty sure. All your intuition points to the shadows beneath this collapsed superstructure. You roll the comm headset Ankita gave you in your palm. We'll call her. You slip the headset into your ear and it fizzes with static. After a few minutes, you hear Ankita. Sleeper, have you located the target? A doubt enters your mind. Can you be sure he is there? Yes, come now. Copy. Hold tight until I get there. The static cuts out, the channel dead. You hold your position and watch the trail. Ahead, the stars wheel with the motion of the eye, and your mind wanders. You try to imagine what this place looked like before the collapse. All ordered rows of crops, corporate pleasure gardens, glowing farm stacks. Now it is a wilderness, a strange overgrown biosphere bordered by the void of space. You smile despite everything. It seems like an improvement. Sleeper, Ankita's hiss brings you out of your reverie. He is in the collapsed stack? I think so. She gives you a look. You'd better be right. Well, there's no way I'm following that trail. If he's up there, he'll have eyes on that for sure. She glances across the landscape. Let's keep to the undergrowth, work our way around. She heads off towards the central spine of the greenway, with you following close behind. It is slow going there, where the overgrowth meets the metal wall, but it is so concealed that you can barely see the glass roof high above. Ankita somehow seems to know where to go. Ankita works her way through dense undergrowth, pushing aside branches and fronds. It is exhausting, and you desperately want to rest, but Ankita shows no signs of letting up. Up ahead, there is a faint glow from the collapsed stack. Ankita leads you around the side to a broken tank. You both step through the opening, trying to avoid the broken glass that sits among the moss and algae. You work your way up the slanted tank. Ankita is setting a deliberate pace. Somewhere, water drips, and you swear you hear birdsong. Faint plants catch the light, coating the place in a pale and sickly green. Ankita reaches the edge of the tank where it meets the central drum and holds up a hand for you to stop. You inch forward and look over the edge. The vast drum is like a cistern with plants growing on all sides, and wet mossy islands at its base. It is beautiful, and for a moment you can't see anything but tones of green. Then you see the sleeper. In the faint circle of light descending down through the drum, the sleeper lies slumped at an odd angle. They are surrounded by crates, and besides them, one of the mossy islands, there is an object. A cylinder set on a trap. It is connected to the sleeper's head. You flinch. Are they one of the others? One of the ones that escaped with you? You squint, trying to recognize them. They are twisted, broken, open, wrong. You look away. Ankita doesn't look at you. She doesn't look at the sleeper. She fixes her eyes on the object. That's Amber's ship mind, she says, and you suddenly recognize the cylinder. Wait. Turn to Ankita to speak, but she's already gone. She drops off the edge of the tank and lands on one of the mossy islands, her armor letting out a hiss as it absorbs the impact. The shot hits her shoulder pierce. The shot hits her shoulder piece, the ceramic armor cracking but holding as she braces into impact. Then she launches herself forward, the now activated armor launching across the drum. Another shot goes wide before she reaches the cover of the crates beside the sleeper. Shit! You hear the shout from one of the tanks high on the far wall. Ankita reaches over and wraps a hand around the thick connection between the ship mine and the sleeper. What is she doing? You better come down here or I'll rip this right out of their head. She screams at the wall of tanks. You shiver at the suggestion. Stay silent. There is a long pause. All you can hear is the dripping of water running down the walls of the drum. Ashton calls out, I'm coming down, Ankita. Don't do anything stupid, for God's sake. He appears at the far west side of the drum, stepping through the shallow water, rifle raised above his head. Drop the gun, Ankita shouts. He throws it down onto the moss. As you lean out to watch, you see him catch your eye, clocking your presence. What are you doing up? What are you up to here, Ashton, you sicko? She stands, keeping her sidearm trained on his head. You ripped my ship mine for what? Some freakish experiment? Ashton approaches with shaking hands, his eyes now fixed on the connecting bundle of wires that Ankita still has hold of. Steady, Ankita. It isn't like that. I needed the ship mine. You have to understand. They would have died without it. What are you talking about? I don't give a shit why you ripped my ship mine and crippled my ship. I should put you down right now. She tightens her grip on the connection. Typical of you, Ankita. No curiosity. Ashton smiles shakily. That's why I never asked for your help. You only look after yourself. He nods at you. That sleeper up there? They're just bait, right? To draw me out? Ankita sucks a breath in. Are you trying to give me more reasons to shoot you? I love them, Ankita. Ashton looks at the crumpled sleeper. I love them and they were going to die. I knew you would never understand that. He starts closing the gap between himself and Ankita now, slowly inching forward. Don't do that, Ashton. Don't do that. Let the wires go, Ankita. Let us go. If you don't get out of my way, inches closer, please. I can't let you take it, Ashton. Ankita hardens her stare. You stole it from me. You left me for dead. She shakes her head. You think I'm going to trust you after all that? I need it, Ankita. I need it to survive. Ashton is in reach of the sleeper now, of Ankita. I'm going to take them now, Ankita. He raises a hand. I'm going to take the ship mine and go. Ankita loosens her grip on the connection a little. Her hand is shaking now. Stop, Ashton. She lowers the gun a little. Stop. Seeing her drop her guard, he makes his move. A blur of movement, a struggle, a shot. Another. You recoil back from the edge as they ricochet around the inside of the drum, the sound defeating you. When you crawl back to the edge, Ashton is bleeding in the water, the red and the green. Ankita is standing at the center of the drum, the severed connection in her hand. The water drips endlessly, drip after drip after drip. You force yourself to look at the broken sleeper. There is no sign of life, of humanity. They are just another broken object among other broken objects, while all around, living things grow and thrive. Ankita finally looks up at you, tears in her eyes. She begins to say something. Something that might be, sorry, but you are already gone. Well, that got dark. Alright, so the next object there is to talk to Ankita about what happened. But for now, I want to do more of Hypa. Alright. And anything else that I can fill an objective for. Overlook Bar is not ready to be visited yet. We'll turn in this hacked data. Another thing about I'm thinking I can't hack this guy. Well, I can try re-rolling it. I can't re-roll this dice. Damn it. Alright. Let's see. Anything I can do at the top here? You know what? We'll do one of these for Weightless Wanderer. Spacer Socializing. And I think that maxed out my energy, which is cool. And Bliss? No way, Mortids. You take those substandard filters back to the shitheels who sold you them. You hear the voice echoing out of the bay as you pass, and moments later, someone who you assume is Mortis drifts out with it, dragging a pallet of filter cartridges by a tether. Hey, you out there, the same voice echoes out of the entrance. Looking for work? Who, me? Everyone on this station is looking for work. Get in here. The voice is coming from someone shorter than you expected. She is floating in the microgravity of the docking bay, besides a deconstructed life support unit that looks like it might have exploded at some point. She points a wrench in your direction. You know anything about these things? She doesn't wait for an answer. Scratch that. Just help me with the casing. We'll help her. Alright then. She deftly moves around the unit, making space for you beside the central seam in the dented case. Just take a grip here and lift out and up, and then I can get in and hold and unbolt it. She whacks the unit with the wrench. Whole thing is twisted to shit. You dig your fingers under the casing and lift it away, the metal squealing from the force. She puts her hands under, spinning the wrench to slip out the bolts, catching them in her other hand when they spiral free. All good. The casting lift offs, revealing the ornate piping of the unit's interior. She whistles at the mess of ducts and filters. By the way, everyone calls me Bliss. She pats you on the shoulder, offering little in the way of an explanation. What do you do here? Repairs, fit-ups, teardowns? Bliss starts pushing and pulling at the ductwork, looking for the fractured pipes. We haggle for contacts, but the good ones get snapped up right by the bigger bays, so here I am trying to get this empty unit running again for one of the freelance tugs. Small-time stuff. Hold this. She rips out a ribbed pipe and hands it to you like a freshly caught fish. We turn stuff around fast and neat, and maybe we get a chance at landing something bigger. Something starts hissing in the unit, and Bliss questions it with a precise... And Bliss quiets it with a precise whack. But to be honest with you, the way things are going, I can see the other crews licking their lips, ready to take this place over. She looks at you. Almost out of luck. What happened? Long story. Some people just can't keep promises. She keeps working, twisting aside pipes with care. There we are. Bliss pulls her hand from deep inside the unit, and out it comes, clutching a lumpen cube, scorched black. The thing must have overloaded and popped half of itself out of the side. You both duck down to the side of the unit and spot the exit wound. Its edges fringed with more scorch marks. Grab me a replacement converter from the racks, will you? It's the racks. You kick off the unit and drift over the wall racks where a catalog of parts sits secured in clamps. Colored tape and scroll notes flutter across the wall. A complex organizational system of Bliss's own design. Or just a big mess. You try to pick out the right part. Alright. If she's working. I'm looking back here. Okay. It needs to be. Then it probably is an M2 converter. You grab the part and push it back to the unit. Bliss holds out an arm and passes it over. The converter spinning gently as it leaves your hand. Perfect. You passed. She straightens up from the unit. That is, if you want to work here. Bliss rubs her hands clean, looking down at her palms. Truth is, I need a hand here. My partner skipped out on me and left me with the whole mess. You seem like you might be better at spotting a clean air filter than Mordred's. I'd be happy to. Wait, she frowns at the racks. That's not all of it. My old business partner, they rinsed the place, emptied the accounts. To bid for jobs, we need to put down deposits, bring in parts, pay tuck fees. For that, she looks nervous, embarrassed. We need chits. You want me to pay for work? Come on, it's not like that. We'd be partners. Straight split. Bliss settles herself against the unit and looks off into the distance. I guess I look pretty stupid. Here I am asking any random passerby to be my business partner. No offense. She manages to smile. I get it. Thanks. She meets your eye. I appreciate it. Bliss goes back to working on the unit. Look, it's no pressure. You find the money, or you find someone who has, or you just forget about the whole thing. Up to you. She gestures for you to help refit the casing, and you both slot it back into place. I think I'm good enough to wrap this one up for now, but if you are into it, come back and we can bid on a new contract. Something to get our teeth into. Something that pays. She gives you a serious look. You can trust me. I don't say this stuff lightly. You kick away from the bay, propelling yourself back down to the handholds at the entrance. You slip out with a wave. As you do, someone slips back in. You hear Bliss glide down the passageway. Mortis, I swear to God, if those filters aren't clean. You smile. Seems like this could be interesting. Alright, so we'll put in 80 cryo. I I have money to burn right now anyway. Okay. Bliss is incredibly grateful. I'll pay you back every shit, I promise you. You guess you two are partners now. Alright, so about 3 cycles. She'll do that. Come on. Ew. Can I please just select the lounge? Thank you. Alright. No. We're done for the day. And I'm going to do some self-repair right now. Yeah, one more. And we will end the cycle there. So, yeah, for those watching, this is a fun... This is really... It's challenging, but it's not insanely difficult. And I love this game for that. Alright, one more cycle and the bar is available. wait. I think I can hack. There's one more. The dice I have. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that can. Or is there? Yeah, what the hell? Alright, and then. Okay, so these things just respawn. I'm not gonna go crazy hacking right now, not without a specific objective. Alright, so that's where I'll meet her again. And we'll finish out this objective. Alright, so we just got the communist achievement. Alright, we'll talk to Rico. You head down into the Haifa compound, followed by a blue label painted line that is labeled laboratories. The member you were assigned to work with told you they'd asked to see you, but you still have no idea what about. The line takes you to a blue door and through to a glass roof chamber where a network of stems and leaves filters the sunlight coming through the ceiling, casting the whole chamber in a strange yellow-green. Peaceful, isn't it? Distracted by the green, you miss the woman standing at a lab bench, camouflaged by a dappled light. Welcome to my sanctuary, she smiles. Come, let's talk. What is this place? She says and beckons you closer. Look, I misread that. I'm saying, what is this place? Here? These are the processing centers for the agriculture of the old corporate station. She offers her hand to shake. I'm Rico. I run the botany program at Haifa. Botany program? Yes, the plants in the Greenway are vital to Haifa's continued existence. It's important we understand them. She lifts a tiny sample jar. Yellow spores dance inside. Haifa lives off the land of the Greenway. It's what allows us to live like we do. No one here pays or is paid. We sleep here, we feed each other, we work for each other. Rico walks away from the bench and waves for you to follow. She opens a small door and leads you down a glass corridor surrounded by vivid green. All this, she says, gesturing at the overgrowth, is a kind of miracle. She looks at you with bright eyes. What do you think usually happens to plants on stations like this when they are abandoned? Keep growing. If only that were true. No, they do not. They dry up and then they die. She leads you left at a crossroads, but here they endured. She smiles to herself. Actually, no, they thrived. You look at the bright tendrils wrapped around the metal frames of the corridor. They look dominant and strong, like they are taking control of this place. Rico continues. Of course, Solheim tried to create a stable biosphere here, patchwork in the surface with gardens and algae tanks that feed into a network of microbial reclamation systems. But the Greenway was always envisioned as extractive, a place from which the harvest is removed and sold to those living on the station, not a closed loop. For that reason, when the collapse came, the Greenway should have gone with it. Erlen himself was so convinced of it that his first colony never even came here to try to reclaim it. The Eye instead relied on outside favors and influences shipments from the inner system and small-scale agriculture, like systems like kelp and the fungal farm stacks. And yet here we are, among growth and decay, a biosphere flowing. When Haifa came here, we expected to find only vacuum-dried stalks and leaves, and perhaps some fungal colonies hidden in the mulch. But we found a jungle. With this, Rico hits a button on the wall and leads you through a large pair of double doors and a huge impossible chamber. It is every kind of green, from the pale algae to the tanks to the dark vines that surround them. It is wet too, a rarity on the eye. Condensation clouds, light from the high glass roof, and gathers on the shiny broad leaves of shrubs. Did you do this? He smiles. Oh no, not me. Rico turns to you, visibly excited by the room you're both standing in. It doesn't make sense, but in many ways, this system has stabilized. Unlike the farm stacks closer to the gap who need input to support their meager output, this place runs itself. Perhaps Solheim managed something new here. Perhaps they tweaked the plants or built new systems buried deep below us. Or perhaps their colleague caused some fortunate cascade, unlikely chemical reaction within the biosphere. That's what I'd like you to help me find out. She turns to you, her forehead wet with dew. Aren't you the botanist? Acutely noticed, but I don't need a botanist. Rika sits on a railing. These halls run deep, sleeper, and I'm getting old. She stamps her foot on the metal grating of the walkway. Whatever is causing this, it's found to be in the groves on the Greenway. Haifa won't spare anyone for an expedition. It's too dangerous and unnecessary, they say. I can make the case, but I can't get the votes. You sleepers are hardly beings. I know that much, and you can speak to the eye, uncover secrets in ways I never can. She holds out her arms so you can help her stand. Bring me samples, spores, seeds, and blooms. I can grow them in the lab and study them. The deeper they are found, the better. Yeah, sure, I will try. Thank you, she smiles. And thank you for listening. Rika leads you back out of the huge chamber and through the passages. She's a little slower now and stumbles on the steps. You help her where you can. It's good to have new blood in the commune, she says. Many of us have been here for a long time, and few come through. She settles back at her bench in the lab, stretching her legs. You go to leave. Come back if you find something, sleeper, she calls. There are discoveries to be made. And you follow the blue line back up out of the compound, all the time thinking of that impossible magical green. Alright. I actually do have spores that I can deliver. Because I was fucking around earlier. And look at that, I have the exact number needed. I'm good at this game. Sleeper! Rico greets you without so much as looking up from her work. I have some of yours here. Come see. She beckons you over to a heavyweight-looking console wired to a series of specimen jars, some of which contain your spores. This, you would believe, she smiles, was a Solheim Council built to analyze the nutrient contents of the Greenway crop. IFA have been using these for decades now, although sometimes they need a little tender care. You look at the machine patched with hull offcuts, and gaps between which reveal a tangled nest of wiring. If you are honest, it looks like it has received a lot of care. The spores you have here are a real cocktail, a selection of types from within the grooves, but I've only been able to isolate a few. She taps one of the specimen jars. Here I have Trichloma matsutake. Rico breezes through the Latin and Japanese pronunciations as if it was nothing. A species Solheim somewhat modified for use on the station. She brings up a panel on her console showing a chemical composition, all gradiented bars and obtuse acronyms. This is the composition of Solheim modified matsutake spores. Modified? Yes, every species on the eye is a tweaked variant of Solheim's, of course, but that's not the point. Rico brings up another panel, identical in layout, but with widely different colors and numbers. You see, this is what your Matsutake spores look like. They aren't the same. That's the conclusion, yes. Riku glanced at the specimen jar as if it might have something to add. They are fundamentally the same spores, but they carry different chemicals, different signals. She leans back and sighs. Solheim may have introduced their own tweaked versions in the beginning, but the grooves have and are still affecting them. Affecting them how? It's hard to tell without samples of fully grown mushrooms. She meets your age, your eye, and herein lies the problem. She moves to another desk where two trays sit side by side. The first contains nothing but plant mulch. The second you smell before you even look at it, the pungent aroma of fruiting matsutake like rotten sodden overalls laced with an edge of spice. The matsutake here are grown from Solheim stalks, pulled from a spore vault in this complex, she winks. They are delicious, by the way. She sets them aside. The empty tray is germinated with the spores you collected. No activity, no germination, nothing. The grooves are full. Yes, they are. Riko looks at you directly, and you suddenly realize how much she is enjoying this. So here's our puzzle, stranger. Sleeper spores from the grooves won't grow in the lab. But gathering fruiting bodies from the grooves is too unpredictable. We need to grow a fruiting body from some of these spores, so we can track it, understand it. In short, I need you to become my mushroom farmer. Actually, I already started. Rika looks impressed. An eager mycologist. I never would have guessed. I assume you set yourself in the aviary? I've been eyeing that place up for its proximity to the groves. Bring me whatever grows, not just Matsutake. There's more than a couple of variants in there, so I'll need plenty of samples. She plucks a Matsutake cap from the tray. These little things are reflections of their conditions, their smell, their taste, their chemistry. It all derives from the conditions of their growths. She smells the cap. Enough of these, and we'll have a picture of what is happening here, of the ways in which this biosphere is modifying itself, or being modified, whichever the case may be. Riko pops the Matsutake cap in her mouth, taking you by surprise. Don't worry, Sleeper, she says while softly chewing. If this turns out to be a dead end, I'll make sure that not a single mushroom will go to waste. Nice. Alright, so I'll need to go mining. And this is a new place where I can live. Oh, that's so nice. Oh man, the amount of progress you make in this game, it really does take you by surprise. Alright, let's finish off Weightless Wanderer. Show capsules. I do not see the point of renting a capsule. Not when I literally have my own home bases to return to. Speaking of which, this amount of dice moves for the time being. We'll call it a day. Alright, I am awake now. Is the bar finally open? How many? Alright, 5 days she needed. Alright. And that got a Spore Catcher achievement. Alright, so I don't have enough for any of these, but that's cool. We made just a little more progress. Alright, so I'll actually need spores for that. Okay. Alright, nice. Neutral outcome. And I need 3 of them. Alright. Yeah. Alright, well. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Alright, we'll call it a day. Because I know at least 2 things are going to happen tomorrow. Moritz. Hey! A quiet voice greets you as you leave. Sleeper, it's me. I know you. Moritz. He pauses. I work for Bliss? He rubs the back of his head. You are not an easy person to find. I move around. Moritz holds up his hands. Hey, no judgment. It's cool. You both stand for a moment, each waiting for the other to speak. So, yeah, well, Bliss needs you. A job just came in, a real big one. She's asking for you to come up and help her out. He nods sagely. Okay, soon. Soon, he repeats to himself. Look, Bliss says I gotta get you up right now. So, he shrugs. Now is better than soon. Moritz stands there for a little while, unsure if the message is delivered. I got it. Cool, cool, cool. He looks around. Bliss likes me to do a thorough job, He rubs his hands together, or burying them in his jacket pockets. See you, Sleeper. Morris ambles off down the corridor, kicking a filter cap on his way out. I'd head to Bliss's Bay then. Well, before we do that, there are two other things I can do if the game will let me. First off, let's see the work we did on the Overlook bar. Talia comes to you on shift when the bar is empty, tapping you on the shoulder as you clean the bar. It's ready, she's grinning from ear to ear. Can I try? Obviously. She grabs you by the arm before you can ask anything else and drags you into the back room. The smell hits you immediately when you enter, a cocktail of rich fermentation and chemical sharpness. The room is warm and bright now, the newly installed lights making the place look clean whether it is or not. Tala has already pulled up a couple of stools around a metal crate, where 2 glasses and a few fingers of pale griot sit waiting. She smiles. I haven't even tried it yet. You can see she's nervous. You both sit at the makeshift table, the slight strangeness of the situation making you both jumpy. Tala hands you a glass. Cheers, she says solemnly and knocks the glass back. You do the same. The first sensation is burning, a sharp, nose-clearing blast of alcohol that has your frame querying whenever you would like to activate safe mode. You gulp the drink back, and it is only then, behind the burn, that you taste the earthy tones of the mushrooms, the wood and the soil, left behind like sediment, barely there. That's strong. He nods vigorously. Woof, that was heavy. As promised, though. You think? She swirls the glass and puts it down. Wait, I have an idea. Tyler grabs a metal bottle from the newly installed work surface and adds a few drops of water to the grill. Try again. This time the burn is warm and glow, harsh but fading off, and the woodness less heavy. You taste something floral among the marshy decay, something fresh and bright that you never expected to find. Both you and Talia meet eyes. It's really good, right? It is. Talia grins with her whole face, and that makes you smile too. Talia pours out some more grill, and then adds some more water. The action is already taking on the quality of a rival. You both drink. Tala tucks her feet up beneath her on the stool, folding her legs. She looks down into her glass and swirls the liquid thoughtfully. What's growing on me? Tala laughs. Go steady. We need to save some for serving in the bar. She smiles. Thanks for the backup. You click your glasses together. Talia looks up at nothing in particular. My father opened this place, you know, she says out of nowhere. A thought suddenly becoming words. It was his attempt at making a life for us, for my family, when we got to the eye. Your family? My father, my mother, my little brother. She takes a drink. They aren't around now. Aren't around as in dead? She puts her glass down. My parents? Yeah, but my brother is somewhere in the Starward Belt. Ran off with a salvage crew. I was just thinking about something my father told me. When he first set this place up, he wanted to call it the Brantigan, but he was afraid to scare off the customers, so he kind of translated it. Hence the Overlook. In these past few cycles, when I've been in here, I've been thinking that I should rename the place. She looks at you. The Brantigan. What do you think? What does it mean? Dad said he translated it to Overlook, so something like that. Watchtower, maybe? Lookout? Talia picks up her glass. That settles it then. To the Brantigan. You both clink your glasses and drink up. Talia hisses through her teeth. Still harsh. She laughs, then suddenly grabs your shoulder. Oh, Sleeper, I totally forgot. She stumbles to her feet. Alright, we have an ad break coming up in about 2 minutes. I don't play during ad breaks, so, feel free to enjoy the downtime as you see fit. And when the 3 minutes are up, I'll resume the game. She lurches over to a corner of the room, covered in a plastic sheet, and whips it off, like a magician performing a trick. Beneath it is a neat little kitchen. A sink, a work surface, a compact room with a hob. Your kitchen! It doesn't give you any time to respond. You can come stuff. You can come make stuff here anytime as long as you promise not to raid the mushroom farm. I need those for the grill. I was thinking too that if things pick up, we can start serving proper food at the the Bantigan. She thinks, do you like it? It's perfect. Tala gives you a hug, then quickly stands back. I'm sorry, I'm so glad you're here. She grins. I think we've had it. Me too. As Tala tidies away the glasses, you inspect the kitchen, checking that it all works. It's small and salvaged, but after what you've had to put up with, it feels like a dream come true. Later, when she's done for the day, Tala comes back to the bar and you share a glass of the good grill, the one she didn't distill. And this time, you talk about nothing in particular, sharing stories about regulars or discussing the best place to eat on the eye. Which, after everything that has happened, feels like a nice change of pace. When it comes time to leave, you promise to cook for Tala and agree to let her know which shifts you'll be working in the coming cycles, then slip out into the cool of the rotunda. And in this moment, you feel for once at home. Alright, so that is really cool. Anyways, that's the ad break, folks. I'll see you in 3 minutes. And we are back. Alright, so I don't have anything to use for cooking right now. And I don't feel like I need to take a bar shift. So we're gonna go to the other side of the station. Because there is one other thing that's... And there she is. and Ankita. You spot Ankita on the track to the farm stack. She has a box on her shoulder and she is working her way down the slope. She sees you as she approaches. Neither of you speak for a moment. She looks tired, pale. Her hair is tangled and clumps of dirt cling to her armor. You both eye each other. Ankita, she holds up a hand. Sleeper, she takes a deep breath. I'm sorry for what happened. Truly I am. She looks down. I am sorry you ended up in the middle of all this, when all you have shown me is kindness. She rubs her face. I'm sorry. Stay silent. For the sleeper that... She stares at the floor. I'm sorry. She looks up and walks away, not meeting your eye. What you did is unforgivable. She looks at you. I understand. Ankita shifts the weight of the box on her shoulder. I've been preparing for... She grimaces. Look, she sighs. You come with me. It's easier if... If what? If you see it. She finishes. It's just down the way. Ankita leads on down the dirt path between the pillars. There is a wind passing through the greenway. A quirk of air currents the biosphere maintains, and it ruffles the leaves softly. The sound makes the sound makes the silence more obvious, more complete. You try not to think of the last time you were here. You have been trying not to think of it for the past few cycles. The image of the sleeper, sprawled, twisted open, connected to the ship mind, has been hard to forget. You realize Ankita is leading you back there, back into the drum at the center of the stack. You pause a little, trembling a little at the threshold. She turns. What are you doing? She looks at you with empty eyes. What needs to be done? You stand on the threshold and look at the tanks, green and wet, some glowing with flickering glow lamps. You look down at Ankita, suddenly so small under this hulking ruin, the smallest she has ever looked. She places the box down. You follow Ankita into the stack through a low tank, entering the drum at ground level. It is just as beautiful as you remember, but it barely touches you. Instead, you check the apertures of the tanks for a glint of a weapon or a shadow among the moss. Ankita stops and you look down. The mossy island at the center of the tank is clear now. The equipment cleared away. In its place is a mound of dirt, loosely covered with moss. Ash's rifle stands straight, half buried in the dirt at the grave's head. I buried them together, Ankita says without turning. You both stand there in silence for a little while. You think of the questions you could ask about Ashton, about the sleeper. How long did you know him? It takes a moment to respond, and for a moment you think she won't, but then the words come gushing out. He signed on for a while ago. He used to run recon for a corporate outfit, but he got sick of the pay. He joined the crew as a sniper, and the first few jobs were a breeze. He was so cold, disconnected. He always hit his marks. The last few jobs, though, he was different. I noticed that. We'd had a period of extended shore leave on the Eye, and when he came back, he was changed. I assumed he just had too much time off. He was right. I never would have given him the ship mind. Wouldn't have believed him. I've had crew members double-cross me, undercut me, rat me out. That's the business. He wasn't a good person. None of us in this job are. This is how we die, alone. She stops, not sure of what to add. Seems like she is reaching for something, but she can't quite get there. You feel the gap between you, and as you do, it widens. The water drips, the moss trembles. You both stayed in silence for a while longer. You both feel it, life creeping back in, the silence ending. Ankita shifts her weight, and then starts to walk out. You follow her, suddenly eager to be back out in the open space of the greenway, to be away from this place forever. You stand outside and breathe the fresh air. You stare at the green leaves and the stars wheeling above them. That's it, says Ankita from somewhere behind you. Try to think of something to say, but you can't. Ankita puts a hand on your shoulder. You turn back to her. At least take this. She forces a handful of crowd chits into your hands. It's what I owe. She looks at you desperately. You look down at the metal bars, ugly little things. You think, I take them. You take the chits and turn without saying a word. You continue up the track as she does not follow. As you walk up the rise, the wind picks up and the leaves shudder. You walk faster, trying to outpace your anger. The chits are heavy in your pockets and you hate them for reminding you of how little life is worth. Alright, that's another objective done. Alright. And I guess I'll go with hard to kill. Mushroom grooves here. Wait, how much? What do I need for the aviary here? Okay, I need one more spore. Alright, so I gotta wait for these to grow. Alright, let's try this one. And 2 neutral outcomes in a row. Fuck me. Alright, we got one more thing to do on this day. And I need dice for that. Alright. Gonna have to call it a day. Alright, let's start on this job. Alright, that's half of that. Very generous modifier. But alright. So then we'll have to finish that tomorrow. Nope, can't. Right. Alright, that should finish it off. Alright, the leaks have been sealed. As you both wait in the airlock for it to cycle back to the bay, Bliss thumps you on the arm. Nicely done, Sleeper. We cleared that contract no problem. She stretches. Once we are back in the bay, we can check if the payment has come through and divide it up. She stretches. Feels good. The airlock clunks and the lights flicker. A moment later, you are back in the bay where Mortis is at the racks, trying to figure out where the mess of tools Bliss left in her wake should be hung. Hey, Mortis. Mortis looks over his shoulder. Sleeper. He spins a wrench in his hand. Looked like clean work out there. He nods respectfully. You look over at Biss, who's already gliding over to her management console. She twirls a little as she crosses the carnivorous bay. No one you've ever met moves as well in zero G as she does. It's like she was born into it. Shit. Bliss slams a fist down on the console. Shit. What's up? I can't even. Bliss closes her eyes. Come here. Bliss calls you over. Look at this. Just look. She spins the terminal screen, and you see the details for the bay's account. You see an entry for Ember's wake, a repair fee paid up in full the moment you finish the job. Then directly after, the whole amount was transferred back into an unknown account. What the fuck? This is the work of my ex. She punches the terminal. He must have coded a backdoor into the machine before he left. She rubs her forehead. There's no way we can. She pauses, thinking. Mortis, throw me that wrench. Moritz spins the wrench across the bay. Bliss smiles. Something like that. Bliss brings the wrench down to the terminal hard. You flip backwards as a hail of computer parts spill up into the bay in a glittering arc. Fragments of screen, memory, and sections of the casing. When Bliss is done, she clips the wrench into her tool belt. Try backdooring your way to that, you shit. Moritz drifts out of the building, drifts out from his hiding place amongst the racks. Bliss, he says cynically, you want me to... He looks at the arc of fragments drifting around the bay nervously. Bliss shakes her head. No, she sighs. I got it. You go get me a new terminal. Cheapest one you can find. Cobble one together from pieces at the ore exchange if you have to. Bliss. She looks over at you. I'm good now. Bliss glides over to a panel by the wall. Don't worry, one of the first things I had installed when we spec'd out the place was a cleaning sweep. She flicks over a plastic cover and a huge button. Watch yourself. She hammers the button and a row of laser emitters unfold from the bay wall. They start crawling their way across the work area, frying the debris as they do in pulses of burning light. Bliss smiles. It's that or just space the whole bay every few cycles. But now, we keep at it. The cleaning sweep buzzes and crackles as it works its way across the bay. That account wasn't everything. I'm not that stupid. Once Moritz gets back, I'll secure it and flush everything else. She flicks a nearby piece of debris into the path of the sweep. Clean break. Then we take another contract. That's it. She shuts off the sweep as it reaches the near end of the bay. You don't want the cryo back? Oh, I want it, but it's gone. You could have transferred it anywhere. She looks out across the cub. And even if I knew where he was, the last thing I ever want that I want is to ever see him again. She rubs her forehead. I'm sorry, Sleeper. I know you work for this too, but next time won't be the same. That's okay. She smiles. See you in a few cycles. Morris will let you know. She winks and kicks off the bay to finish cleaning up. Wow, what a plot twist. Seriously, game, allow me to go up to this person's ex and just shake him down for the stolen money. Alright, we'll do this one. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna use stabilizer soon anyway. A lot of fungus coming in here. I guess we'll sleep in this storm. Hey, welcome back, Alex. Good to see you. Do I have anything I can use up here? No, not enough stuff. This is kind of pointless, but whatever. Let's get my energy up. Not here. Here. And we will use stabilizer. Oh, I am re-rolling that. Much better. Alright, let's get some mushrooms here. Does any of that help me in the lab? Alright, we'll use one more of those. And I have the spores to remake the fungal beds. Alright, we'll see what these findings are. Then I think I'll call it a stream. Rico meets you at the entrance to the lab, leaning on her crutch with a glint in her eye. Walk with me, sleeper. I'd like to tell you a story. She makes her way down to the corridor that leads back up towards the main commune building. When people first crossed what we call the Founders Gap into the Greenway, they did so against the wishes of Erlin. At the time, Erlin was trying to stabilize the Union and establish control over the Eye in the wake of Solheim's collapse. It was chaos, competing factions, falling systems, so many dead and injured from the riots. That was his priority. We both cross a glass roof tunnel, greenway outside crowded with vines and branches, dappling the light. Berlin had written the greenway off, cut off from the rest of the station and linked to a broken spoke. He's claimed it was only a matter of time before everything here would die. He refused to let anyone abandon their duty to the Union and cross. They were traitors to the cause or as good as. Rico continues, making her slow but steady way into the inner green gardens of the commune. There weren't many of us, but we believed what was here was worth saving. We had to keep our plans secret until we crossed. Some of us left people behind. She pauses to catch her breath, her voice cracking. It is difficult to know if from the effort or emotion. What we found here was a disaster, nothing like what you see here. Half the greenwood was leaking oxygen into space. The plants flash frozen. The other half was a swamp of mulch as decaying matter clogged every system. We worked hard, we lost good people, we cleaned up and closed up, but it was never going to be enough. After many cycles, we all knew this place was doomed, but we kept on working. Talking less and less because we couldn't face it. We all developed a death wish. If the Greenway was going to die, so would we. It changed. Everything, Rika smiles. We crossed some invisible boundary, tipped some biological scale, and the greenway started to recover. Plants flowered, crops sprouted. For the first time, we reaped the fruits of our labor. Rico smiles, looking up at you. We thought it was us that we managed to do just enough to end the cycle of decay. I thought we had saved the greenway until today. You pass into the grow beds of the commune, rich with the hustle and bustle of Haifa members planting and harvesting. For a while, Rico is quiet, and you both simply observe the hypnotic movements of the work crews, the ear chatter washing over you like a wave. Rico smiles to herself. I should have known, of course, that our arrogance was unfounded, and we needed to believe back then. We needed a myth to bring more people across the gap. You both moved into a smaller corridor, Rico following some direction unknown to you. What you have shown me is that back then, Greenway saved us, not the other way around. Tell me, have you ever consumed one of the Matsutake or grill caps you have been growing? Yes. I imagine they were delicious, nutritious, and almost uniquely so, she muses. After all, they were designed for you. Rico has a mischievous look. At first I thought it was the location they were grown in that made the mushrooms from the aviary, from the labs, or from the groove different to each other. But what I have come to understand is that it is the person growing them. The Matsutake and grill crabs you brought me are totally unique, containing compounds never usually found in similar specimens in my possession. Many of these compounds aren't even digestible for humans, but for a sleeper like you, Riko smiles as she leads you back into the internal garden of her commune, where the Haifa members have planted species from all over the greenway. Back when the tide turned, when the greenway started to recover, we all felt something. A response. It was as if the place was not just alive, but as a force alive, but alive in other ways. Communicative, responsive. Shrugged off at the time, but now I understand why. Rico stops and turns to you. This place is responding to us, adapting itself to us. It is growing fruiting bodies for you. For me, it is adapting, changing. In short, displaying all the signs of sentience. The Greenway is sentient? Perhaps not the Greenway, but the ecosystem itself, or something within it. Rico sits on a bench with the peaceful gardens and gestures for you to join her. When you have been growing the grills and the matsutakes in the aviary, those species are so familiar to the Greenway. You discovered any others? Not yet. If you do, can I ask that you immediately bring them here? I believe it is only a matter of time before they bloom. You look around at the garden, amazed at the sense of peace within it. Rico interrupts the silence. There is a species of mushroom that I haven't seen in years. It is dark, short, shaped like a club. We first found it in those early days when we were working to save this place. It was around that time that we started to lose our first members. They were succumbing to some infection, some mold growing deep within the dark mulch that drowned this place. At that point, we thought we were lost. And then these mushrooms emerged from the same black mold. We tested them and saw they contained some compounds that counteracted the mold. They contained an antidote. Of course, as a botanist, I saw this as part of the natural process of the ecosystem, even if the timescale seemed absurdly short. What I'm wondering is if the antidote was a gift. Rico meets your eyes. Perhaps if you are patient, you will receive your gift too, sleeper. You both sit for a while. Rico seemingly done telling you stories for today. You watch the light playing off the leaves and plants around you and wonder what forces could be at play in this place. After a while, you stand and leave with a quiet nod to Rico, leaving her to her memories. Alright. That is where I will call it. It is getting late, and Who am I gonna read out to? Who is on tonight? Thank you, Alex. You have a good night too. Who can we kick this over to? You know what? We'll read this over to Hi Choo Choo. They are playing Dot Hack GU Volume 2, personal favorite of mine. So that's who I'll leave you with. And alright. You know, thank you all for watching. Psychic Gamer, thank you again for the raid. If you had a good time, for any new viewers here, if you had a good time here, hanging out here, please give me a follow. Love to have you back here. And with that,